From a secret underground bunker somewhere in the Arizona desert, 40 feet below the Earth's surface, two men, aided by their robotic artificial intelligence, Jennifer,
at your service.
hide from their wives and kids to discuss man stuff with interesting and unusual people. These men are the Bunker Boys. Well, hello there. We are back, the Bunker Boys. You thought you could get rid of us, but it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, it's not that easy.
No, we're like stuff on your shoe. I was going to say something else, but gum on your shoe.
Gum on your shoe.
That made it even sound worse. I was going to say that on your shoe. But anyway, here we are, right in your ears, in your earbuds. So, Garth.
What?
How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
It's been a week since we've talked.
Yes, it has been.
Okay. Anything new and exciting?
No, not really.
That's good to hear.
Just freezing up here.
I think we have bunny rabbits living under our stairs.
Oh, I'm sure you do.
So every time we come up... and
They run out?
Yeah, they run out from under the stairs. It's like, that's not the safest place. Other animals can see them there. I don't get that.
Well, you plugged up all their other holes underneath your shed over there, so...
Actually, the battery shed where the solar panels feed is open. There's a hole there.
Is there?
Yeah. So they go under there. I'm sure of that.
Well, that's good. They'll stay nice and warm there.
In the storage unit that we have, our garage that we call it, there's a hole. There's several holes under there that they've reestablished. Just when I thought I had them all cemented in.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's amazing that rabbits can dig through concrete. I mean, it wasn't thick concrete,
right?
But still, their little paws had to be bloody by the time they were done. Well, they're stupid. Why would they do that?
I don't know.
Don't live under there. I don't want you there. But it's just like everything else in life, you know. What I want doesn't matter.
Right.
It's what nature wants. So there you are. Got to fight rabbits.
So there.
But I'd rather have rabbits there than rats.
By all means.
Yeah, rats are nasty. Although I see evidence of those too. Over here on some of the rocks we have out here, I see little shatterings of
little duties.
Sticks and duties and all sorts of stuff.
I just found a good one in the wood pile.
You did?
Yeah, I was splitting wood. Pulled one log away off because you stack it all up out there and you cover it up when it's snowing so it doesn't get all wet and everything. I'm out there, pull this one log off of there. There's a beautiful nest, boy. I don't know how they make those things.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
They take the bark from the juniper and shred it all up and you can make a bed out of that, but I wouldn't want to.
Yeah.
It's nice and soft and warm. And
apparently so.
He even had orange peels in there and avocado seeds.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. Well, because we throw all the leftover vegetables and stuff that we cut up and stuff, throw that in the compost pile.
Yeah, and then they just steal what they want out of it.
Yeah, they just take what they want. And
I've seen them use thread and anything that's
feathers, everything.
Yeah, birds will do that too.
Right.
We trimmed our dog's hair when it was summertime and it was hot, and shaved him a little bit and let them throw out the stuff in the yard. And my wife says, "Why are you throwing it out in the yard?" And I said, "Well, the birds will make a nest out of it."
Yep, that they do.
And they do. They pick it up. In fact, I saw some of them in the trees. They had a little nest, and there was in there a nice soft little bed of dog fur.
Yep, nice and warm.
I guess so. Well, not much else reported here on my end of things. I mean, it's down in the city this week was a little crazy. You know, the reason I want to move up here is because the traffic is so horrendous down there. And this is so much nicer. We have big acreage here, or at least big for us, compared to down in the city. And then you get up here, and it's so peaceful and mostly quiet, although we've got more neighbors moving in. I've seen more traffic in and out, and that's your favorite thing to...
That's my favorite thing.
your pet peeve. But here we are, and...
3 years ago, there only used to be maybe 5 vehicles going up and down the road. Now it's 25 to 30 vehicles a day.
That's crazy.
It is. It's nuts.
Well, hopefully it won't get too crazier than that, but you never know.
Well, if California keeps acting like it does, they're all going to be here.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of California vehicles out here, but then they come to visit relatives too that I think are already established in Arizona. Jennifer,
Yes, Master.
I'm glad to see you're here.
Thank you, Chris.
You're welcome. And Garth, how are you for coffee? It's kind of chilly in here.
Yeah, I'll take some if you really have some.
Jennifer,
Yes, Master.
can you whip up some coffee for Garth?
Your coffee is ready.
Man,
Well,
it seems like she gets faster and faster.
That was too quick.
Yeah, and it's steaming too. Look at that.
What?
That cup.
That was pretty darn quick.
I'm telling you, you just open up the little food eradicator there. Mm-hmm. Eradicator, that's to get rid of something.
Slide the little thingy up and pull your coffee. It's just like in the
Jetsons.
like in the Jetsons or the hospitals or whatever. You put your quarter in. Well, you used to be able to. And the cup falls down and fills it up with coffee. You open up the thing, pull your coffee out.
Now, it's happened to me, just like you've seen in some comedy shows where you put your money in, the coffee shoots out, and then the cup comes down later. Believe it or not, I've had that happen.
Really?
Half a dozen times. In the hospital one time, I had like 55 cents to my name, and I'm there visiting my wife, and there it goes. There's my cup of coffee gone, right down the drain. But they did reimburse me for that. So.
Oh, you got lucky.
Yes. Hey, did you hear about Birmingham, England? A 53-year-old surgeon, his name was Simon Bramall, pleaded guilty on December 13th to branding his initials onto a human liver.
What?
Yes. I guess as a joke or some kick, he was branding his name onto people's livers during surgery, or his initials, using an argon beam laser.
Wow.
It doesn't hurt anything. It just kind of burns the surface.
Right.
But if you were to, I think, X-ray them, or not X-ray, but maybe use some sort of device to see
How'd they find out
it.
about that, I wonder?
Well, apparently somebody saw it.
Somebody ratted him off.
A colleague of his first noticed his initials SB in 2013 on an organ during a follow-up surgery. So I guess they had to open him up. Anyway, he ended up resigning in 2014 and acknowledged that he'd put his mark on patients' livers and that it was a mistake. He shouldn't have done it.
That was when?
14.
14.
It was like a year later, but he fessed up to it. But a former...
Yeah, I did it.
Yeah, that's my initials.
Yeah, I did.
It's my handwriting.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know it's you because it's your handwriting.
We know it's you, bloke.
But former patient Tracy Scriven of Durham, Wiltshire, told the Birmingham Mail newspaper that he should have been reinstated. He said, "Is it really that bad? I wouldn't have cared if he did it to me. That man saved my life." But, come on. Why would you do that? It does cause some damage. The laser does burn the surface.
Right.
And unnecessarily so. So, yeah, I can see why somebody wouldn't, it wouldn't be a good thing. I was reading another story about, what they think cave people looked like. I guess they had some skulls, and they were using some forensic scientists, like they use on murder cases, and they resculpted this face. And you can actually see it on the web. And they call this girl Dawn, I guess from a dawn of a new age or something.
Right.
But she looked really manly. She looked like a real...
Oh, it looked like one of my neighbors I had in California.
What are you trying to say?
I knew a girl that looked real manly.
Yikes. Well, they think that this girl lived in around 7000 BC, and her remains, I can't even talk today, her remains were found in a Greek cave, and they recreated her face from those remains. They found the skull in 1993, and her face was sculpted using CT scans and 3D printing technology. She had a long, I guess you call it a protruding jaw.
Elongated jaw.
And suffered from anemia and scurvy due to lack of vitamins. And they think she was 18. They said that her bones indicated she was 15, but her teeth indicated she was 18. But maybe it's because she chewed rocks or something. I don't know.
I never know.
It made her teeth look older. But she had hip and joint problems, so scientists thought she might have had trouble walking even at that age.
Poor thing.
It's scurvy at 18. That's pretty young. She was found in Theopetra Cave in the central Greek region of Thessaly, although a Swiss reconstruction team put her on display at the Acropolis Museum in Athens. But when you look at her face, she does look like a very manly woman. She would not be you'd call attractive. She looked very like she could beat your hiney.
I bet you she was attractive to somebody back then.
Maybe. You know, they can tell if a woman has had a child based on her hip structure.
Hips, yeah.
Yeah. It's funny. You wonder how that works too. But I guess the hips go through stress and they change shape after childbirth.
Oh yeah. Look at. Never mind. I'm not gonna say no.
Danger.
You're scaring me.
Well, yeah. Look at as we were growing up, all the young women, we used to date and stuff. Oh yeah, they beautiful bodies and everything. Once they have a child, boom, they get a big old fat butt and everything else.
Well, part of that's diet, though, but they do look different.
Right.
I mean, it's a slightly different shape. I wouldn't say that it was dramatic because I'm married. I wouldn't say. No, that's
that happens on down the line. I mean, once they're probably in their 30s and 40s. And
meanwhile, there's another podcast where they're talking about men and their potbellies. You're somewhat of a chef. Did I scare you?
No, I am.
And
they used to call me Chef Boyardee.
Boyardee.
I'm not kidding.
For Garth?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to call you Chef Boy, oh boy.
Boy, oh boy, oh girl.
But cilantro, what do you think that tastes like? What's the initial taste for you?
Hold on, let me think. Now, Bob, remember Bob?
Mm-hmm. Our neighbor Bob.
He said it tasted like, what the heck was it? What did he say? Not toothpaste, but, for Pete's sake, I can't think of what he said now.
For Pete's sake, and Gladys too.
But I like the taste of cilantro.
Oh, I do too. Now, this is interesting. When I read this to you, you'll understand this. But I'll make a comment about it because some people think it tastes like soap. And I think it does too, initially.
Okay.
But it's got a clean finish, I hate to use the word finish because I watch all those cooking shows with my wife and mother-in-law. They're always watching these shows. Of course, I'm the beneficiary of that because they cook so good.
You're the one who eats all
cook so
that.
well, yeah. But apparently, not everybody feels that way. Some people think it tastes more like soap than others do. And apparently that's genetic. And what kind of keyed them in on this was a study that they did at the Twins Day celebration in Twinsburg, Ohio. Have you ever heard of that?
Twins Day.
Twins Day, yeah. I actually took my mother there because she's an identical twin.
Is that on a Thursday?
I don't know.
Or a Wednesday?
Twins Day on a Tuesday.
Twins Day's on Tuesday.
We were at that event and they had a blast. And you want to talk about seeing double. When you're looking around and hundreds of sets of twins and more. Some are quadruplets, some are triplets. But it's pretty wild.
So you get to eat twice as much?
No.
Oh.
No, but they did this test at the Twins Day celebration. And they were asking people...
Do they have it on a Wednesday?
I'm going to open up the trap door where your chair is in about 10 seconds. And you know what happened last time?
Oh, yeah, I fell down there.
There's alligators down there
landed
now.
in that vat of
I want to see you swim. But they tested... they said 80% of the twins that were asked the question, does it taste like soap or what does it taste like? And 80% either both liked it or both hated it. And 50%, and those are identical twins, 50% of the fraternal twins, that are not identical,
right.
It could be boy and girl and whatnot. I hope not the whatnot, but boy and girl, 50% liked it together or disliked it together. And they think it's just due to genetics. And that's why they wanted to test it at Twins Day. Those people with the olfactory receptor genes called the OR6A2 can pick up the scent of aldehyde chemicals. There are various kinds of genes. Some pick up the taste of vanilla. The vanillin gene takes up the taste of vanilla. Cinnamaldehyde, which picks up the smell of cinnamon. So you either have those genes or you don't. And if you have them, then things taste different to you. That's why I always wondered, if I taste something, does it taste the same to me as it does to you? Or if I use a crayon, say it's dark blue for me, what if you really see it red? but you've learned that that's blue.
Oh, boy.
Am I getting too deep here?
What?
I know, but think about it. Doesn't mean it looks exactly the same to you as it does to me.
That's true.
And maybe you know that color is red when really it's blue for me. All right, I'm done being weird.
Thank you. But I understand what you're saying.
You see what I'm saying?
I could see what you're saying because it flew right by me.
It was a story that I was going to tell last week, and I forgot to do it. I forgot to get onto the subject.
Thank goodness.
Well, maybe, you might thank me later, but have you ever been to a store where you walk in and somebody's just being totally rude to the clerk?
Yes.
And expecting them to jump through hoops for them, and they're doing their best to help them out, and they don't even utter a word of dissatisfaction or meanness to the customer, but they just sit there and take it. When I see that sense of justice in me climbs up my back, and I have to say something, and it makes me angry.
It does.
It does. I saw some lady, this was when I first moved to Arizona.
Oh, this is years ago.
Yeah, years ago. It was in Scottsdale, and we were at this bargain place in Scottsdale. Believe it or not, there are a few.
The bargain basement?
Something like that. And I'm at the counter, I'm ready to buy something, and this woman in front of me says she wanted to buy some luggage. It was, this discount luggage. It was nice. It had nice floral pattern on it.
Was it plastic or was it cloth?
It was cloth.
Oh.
And it looked like someone had stitched it. It looked like it was hand-stitched or something. It was actually pretty. And she said that she wanted help getting it off the shelf because she couldn't reach the top shelf. So this young kid, who was just a really nice young man, goes over and he tries to help her. And he says, well, which one is it? Because there's several different suitcases up there. They all have the same pattern. And she tries to describe it to him. And he goes, okay, I think I know what you're talking about. So he goes over there very nicely, and he gets it real quickly, and he brings it back. And she goes, that's not it.
Why didn't she walk over there with him?
That's what I said. So I didn't say anything at first. I kept my mouth shut. And then he goes over. Oh, he goes, okay, there's another one. I'll get it. He brings another one over, and she goes, that's not it either. And she just went off on him.
What a battle
axe.
She
goes, you people don't know how to listen. And just went on and on and on. And this woman was not that old. She was about 40. I mean, she wasn't a curmudgeon. Well, she was mentally. And I just looked at her, and that left one suitcase left. So he went back and got it. And this woman was so upset and rattled that she was mad. She was trying to sign a check, and she couldn't do it. And she was busy.
She was shaking too much?
Yeah, and she was angry, and she was busy trying to insult him further.
What a nitwit.
While she was trying to write the check out. And when she got almost done, I looked at her and I said, you know what, ma'am? I said, this young man was very nice to you, and he's doing his best to help you. I said, the least you could have done is walk over there with him. Why didn't you do that?
Exactly.
And then you could have pointed out what you wanted, and then he would have had exactly what you wanted.
Yep.
Instead, you had to act like an ass. And she looked at me like with daggers in her eyes.
Oh, I bet.
And
I
I said,
bet if she had one in her hand, she would have used it.
Yeah, probably. And she stood there just glaring at me. And I said, look, they don't need your business that bad. She goes, you're right. I'm going to leave. I don't want it now. Bye. And she gets out. I don't know if she paid for anything. She just left it all sit there and went.
So then the guy got mad at you for telling her.
No, he didn't. He was relieved that somebody stuck up for him. Now the clerk, she said something too, and I can't remember exactly when. I think it was just before I did, or just after I did. And she said, well, you really didn't have to be that mean to him. She said that to her. And when I said something, then that was it. She had enough, and she left.
Good.
And I thought, good. You don't need that kind of business. And somebody treats you like that. So this lady behind me in line, she goes, well, you didn't have to be rude to the customer. The customer is always right.
No, you're not.
And I looked at her and I said, until they're wrong.
Right.
And this woman was totally wrong. And I said, and if you think her behavior was correct, there's something wrong with you too. And she just clammed up, and I bought my stuff. And I said, you know what? And I told the young man, I forget what his name was, but I called him by name because he had his badge with his name on it.
What was his name?
Skippy? No, I don't know what it was. So I said, Skippy, you did a great job.
Hey, Skip.
And he never said a word. He never uttered a mean word to her. He didn't act like he had an attitude. He didn't walk off in a huff. He just served her like she was the Queen of Sheba, which she thought she was. That angers me so much when I see somebody treat somebody like that. And I know they can't say something. They could lose their job.
Right.
But I sure as heck can say something. And I did.
I don't blame you.
And I will continue. So don't act like an ass in public.
Yeah.
Please.
Well, you know what happened to me? This was a couple months ago in town there at the dollar store. I went in there and, got some cookies and dog food and stuff for the dogs. Canned dog food, mix it in with their dry stuff. So I walked up to the cashier thingy, the counter. There was 2 people in front of me. The first person, he had just a basket, just a handheld basket with items in it. And then behind him was an old boy. He had a shopping cart full of stuff. And I'm like, oh boy, this is going to take forever, which it did. But anyways, so I'm standing there with my little hand basket full of canned good dog food and stuff. Standing there. Okay, the first person, and there's only one checker. Now the more people are starting to line up behind me, like a couple, 3 more. The girl who was taking care of Buddy, she rang the bell and asked for another checker to come and help, which this guy was the manager. When I was shopping, I saw him putting stuff away. I guess there was only 2 people in the dollar store that day or something, 2 workers. One lady, heavy-set lady, she was trying to cash a check, okay? So that's why everybody was getting backed up.
Right.
Okay, so she called the other guy in, so now he came back there, and so the guy with the little handheld basket goes up there, and he takes care of him, okay? And I'm standing like in between both checkers, like, who am I going to go to next? And the lady in front of that's trying to cash a check, she turns around, she goes, you may as well just go on over there because it's going to take a long time probably. I said, oh, okay. I walk over to the other checker where the guy came up and started taking care of people. Now the old man's up there with the big basket full of stuff. And that took about 8 minutes to get all that stuff out. And
Jeez.
yeah, and I'm standing here, more people are lining up behind me. So then, about right in the middle of checking the old boy out with the whole basket, this other lady walks in the door. And they were, BITCHs, basically. Jeez. And they knew each other. Okay, so now this new lady that just walked in, she had a phone that she was going to return, a cell phone that she had bought there. So instead of, I guess, for what was going to happen, the register, the girl was taking care of the first lady, had to go over to the other register when the guy was done checking the old boy out with the full basket and get money out of that register for her check. Okay, so I'm standing there, 10 minutes has gone by so far. I'm still standing there. So this other lady walks in, wants to return the phone. Her and the 2 fat ladies are, oh, blah, 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 blah. So the girl takes care of the other lady and gives her the money back. And I'm looking over there at those 2, and they look at me and they start laughing and everything. And I'm, well, this is ridiculous. Why didn't they take care of me? And, and have the other lady with the phone get behind everybody else.
Which is what they should have done.
Right. So anyways, the guy finished, the boy with the full basket, and he goes, okay, ma'am, I'll take you over here now to the other lady with the check. I'll take you over here, ma'am. And then the other girl goes, here, you can come over here now, sir. I said, no, I'll just go ahead and wait for this. She goes, well, no, he has to give her money with it. I said, this is BS. I set my basket full of stuff right on the floor and walked out. But sir, I said, oh, but you. I said something else. But, that was totally uncalled for and ridiculous on their part.
Yeah. And
he was the manager.
She knew they were in the wrong. He had to know. I don't know. A little kindness goes a long way. Mm-hmm. I'll let somebody go ahead of me if they're older folks or if they don't have much. I've got a lot in my basket and they've just got one item.
Right. I let them go ahead. I agree.
But,
I do too.
I try not to be mad at people. But sometimes they just make it so difficult.
I agree.
They just do stupid stuff.
But anyways, that's my stupid story.
Well, here's a story that came up this past week. Apparently, gambling machine cash was spilled out all over the Interstate 74
Saw that.
in Champaign County, Illinois.
In the rain even.
Oh, yeah, and about 2 miles west of Mahomet. It says the driver lost control for just a moment, hit the guardrail and another vehicle, causing a crash in the median of both vehicles. It spilled 5, 10s, and $20 bills all over the highway. The road was closed for about an hour. The cleanup crews picked up all the cash, and they cited the driver for driving too fast. But can you imagine? I mean, how do you know if you got all the cash?
Oh, I'm sure you didn't.
The wind just whipped it around, and
Well, if there was wind, but see, it was raining. So the cash stuck to the ground. They showed it on TV.
oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Maybe that saved him. Mm-hmm. Man, that guy could have lost his job. Well, he probably did anyway.
Probably did.
Because he wrecked the SUV he was driving. It's probably a company car. But man, free cash, everybody. There's been things like that's happened in the past, where some bank truck door opened and it spilled its contents on the road.
Right.
People were picking up stuff and just running away with it. But they caught them on camera.
I saw a thing on TV. It was on the Fox News. You know,
The national.
Right, National
channel.
Fox. Mm-hmm. In New York, the armored truck pulled up, and it had bags of gold coins or something. Mm. Okay, so it pulled up in front of this place, opened up the door. The guy pulled a couple bags out and walked over, and while he was doing that, some joker, he was from El Salvador or something, a known felon, walked up, grabbed a bag of gold, and walked away with it. They showed it. It was on camera.
Wow.
That's how they knew it was this guy from this known felon.
So they caught him. They know who he is.
They know who he is. They never caught him.
Well, that's a good thing. Free gold, everybody.
No kidding, huh?
Just come and pick up a bag at your nearby bank.
Isn't that something, how just walk right up and grab a bag and walk away with it?
That's crazy. But it happens.
Mm-hmm. Never caught him. Haven't heard anything since.
The gold is, what is it, like $1,300 an ounce now? Something like that?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's quite expensive.
The only gold I have is
your wedding ring?
My wedding ring.
If worse comes to worse.
I'll probably hawk it.
Let's hope it never comes to that. That's not a good thing either way. I'm so attached sentimentally to things that my wife gives me, and I'd hate like anything to give up my wedding ring. But if you have to eat, that's another issue.
Very true.
Well, Rancho Santa Margarita, California just got placed on the map due to an unauthorized sign along the highway. One of those little green signs with large white lettering. Mm-hmm. Actually, they're not so little. They're probably almost a foot wide and, well, a foot tall. And
you mean the lettering?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then the width of the sign's probably 2 feet, maybe more. But I guess the street crews were putting up signs, and they had 3 signs on one signpost. And the one sign said Cota de Casa, and it's got an arrow. It says Dove Canyon, another arrow, and then the bottom one said Bob's house.
Bob's house.
One of these signs don't belong. Which one is it?
Who's Bob?
That's what we want to know.
Well, where does Bob live?
Yeah, well, apparently close by, because there was an arrow to his house.
I'll be darned.
But the Department of Transportation at least had a good sense of humor about it. They posted on their Facebook post, and I'll read what it says. We completely understand your efforts and money to order and buy a sign that meets all the Department of Transportation standards and guidelines, so that those Amazon delivery trucks, party guests, and curious motorists find Bob's house. It could have been a new destination to rival In-N-Out, and for that, we are very sorry to so abruptly remove the sign that, well, is just not legally permitted. We do hope you took a photo of it. If not, we have one we can share with you. In any event, your sign may be retrieved at City Hall during normal business hours. No questions asked. It may make a nice wall hanging in your office or rec room, and certainly a good story for your guests and Amazon deliveries that get lost or don't quite make it on time. So that was pretty cool the way they handled that. It could have gone a lot worse, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if the guy will have guts enough to come pick it up. I would just wonder if it's one of the crew that orders the signs and thought it would be funny to have him put it up.
You never know.
Bob's house.
Did you ever see, it was on the news, showed Welcome to California sign? Regular big green signs with the white lettering.
Right at the border.
Right, and they light up at night, blah, 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 when lights hit them. It says, Welcome to California. And underneath that, there was another sign. Felons welcome. Or immigrant felons welcome, and something else. Democrats need your votes.
That's funny.
I know it was. I laughed. I wish I could tell you exactly what it said, but
Truth in advertising there, I think.
oh boy, it was. And then the news person came in. Well, of course, this isn't real. It was, somebody had put, but the signs looked real.
Oh, yeah, they probably had them printed up by the sign company.
Boy, oh boy.
That's very funny.
Yeah. But I saw that and I just started rolling.
Yeah. Speaking of signs, Disney World had a sign up that directed people to Epoch Center.
What?
Epoch Center, Epcot Center.
Oh, Epcot.
They spelled it wrong. I've seen all sorts of weird spellings. And then you get into pronunciations, like local pronunciations. There's a city in Ohio called Versailles. It's pronounced Versailles in France, but Versailles, Ohio. There's several like that around the country.
Never even heard of them.
Yeah.
So I looked at you kind of, what?
Yeah, they just don't know how to pronounce it. So it's Versailles. Because you got hillbillies down in Ohio.
Is that almost like for sales?
Something like that. Garage sales.
Garage sale.
I'll make my living in garage
Who's selling
sales.
their garage and keeping their house?
What about a yard sale?
Yeah, but who? Yeah.
Why don't they have a yard ape sale?
Yard ape.
What do you think about the yard ape, kids?
Yeah. They
Yeah.
like it.
They're yard apes. But anyway, in the weird, scary news department comes this story. This couple moved into a $1.3 million home
Wow.
in Westfield, New Jersey.
Was it raining?
It was raining. It was a dark and stormy night.
Oh, okay.
And they started receiving letters from someone who signed them as the Watcher. And he said that it was his job to watch their house and to make sure that people were safe.
There's a nut.
Yes. And he asked the owners to bring him young blood, whatever that means. And the family had 3 children, and they were talked about in the letters that he left. And he said, quote, "I am pleased to know your names now, and the names of the young blood you have brought to me," one of the letters said. And another letter said, "Have they found what is in the walls yet? In time they will." So the couple promptly packed up and moved.
I don't blame them.
And they're suing the former sellers of the home that sold it to them.
What else is new?
And they said, you didn't tell us about this whack job, and so we want our money back. But they moved out immediately.
I don't blame them one
It's just
bit.
unbelievable, some of the crap that happens in this
I
world.
wonder what's in the walls.
Well, that's a good question. Well, drywall for sure.
Insulation.
Or what is that? Shiplap. Cue the spooky music.
Spew the kooky music.
All right. So in the spooky news department, another story. Grandma passed away.
Grandma just cut one.
That's a sound effect.
Oh.
Grandma had always been an avid texter. She loved to text her kids and grandkids. But she passed away. So they thought it was only the proper thing to do to bury her with her cell phone.
Right.
Because she always had it in her hand. Wonder if they had it in her hand.
Probably.
That would be kind of creepy, but hey, So anyway, a few weeks after her death, her granddaughter decides that she misses Grandma and she's just going to send her a text. And it said something really nice, about how she missed her grandma and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah.
Blah. I remember blah.
And more blah, blah, blah. So the weird thing was she got a text back and it said, "I'm watching over you. You'll get through this. You'll be all right."
And that's something.
That's a bit spooky.
Well, you never know.
Well, you know what it was? They found out. They did some investigation.
Oh, who was it?
It was actually the person who received the number after Grandma.
That quick?
That quick. They reassigned the number after they, reported her deceased. So someone else got the text and that
And
person
that's
texted back. But that's creepy.
Yeah, that is. That is kind of weird.
Oh, boy.
Poor Grandma.
Poor Granny. Get that phone out of your hand.
That's what we used to call my mom as Granny.
Is that right?
Because she looked like Granny on the Beverly Hillbillies.
You kidding?
I'm not kidding. Well, when she was old and, 85 years old.
That's funny.
Hey, Granny. Yep.
Irene Ryan was the actress that played Granny.
What was her name?
And Granny was, she was an interesting character. She sang I'm a Woman, WOMAN. Remember that song? Mm-hmm. There's a YouTube video of her doing that.
No kidding.
Yeah, and she's younger. Well, she took her makeup off. She was actually younger when she played that role, but she always looked old. And so did Jed Clampett. I mean, Buddy Ebsen.
I saw him in person in
Oh, you did?
Naples, California.
No kidding. Were you at the bank or something?
Yep. How'd you know?
I don't know. That's usually where people run into people.
I think I told you. I might have told you that before.
Not that one. No, I never.
Yeah,
knew.
we were at the bank, and he was in front of us.
Yeah, old Jed Clampett.
Yeah.
Did you get to say hi or anything?
No, but we were standing behind. We knew it was him.
Yeah, that's
and
funny.
my buddy I was standing with, hey, look, there's Jed. I said, oh, yeah, it is, isn't it? Buddy Ebsen, I'll be darned.
So he is a millionaire, and he was cashing a check.
Well, he was back then. And, it was an itty-bitty bank, too. It was Naples, California. It was by the ocean, and
Maybe he lived nearby.
he did.
That's cool.
It's really ritzy area.
You know who I should call one day and just
But
talk about
anyways,
this?
you don't let me finish my story.
Oh, I thought you were done. I'm sorry.
No.
I wouldn't interrupt you otherwise.
Okay, never mind. I won't.
That's okay.
Okay, but anyways, so we're standing there, and he's looking at whatever he's looking at in his hands. He's not paying attention to the line. So the person at the window leaves, walks away, and
And he's still standing there.
he's still standing there. And my buddy goes, hey, Jed, you're up. He goes, oh, I'm sorry. And he walked.
That's very funny.
Yeah.
Jed, you're up.
Jed, you're up.
My friend Kim went to high school with Heather Locklear and a lot of the actors.
In W2901?
Something like
Or
that.
what is it? Not
90210.
Yeah, 90210.
You don't even know your own zip code there?
W2, what did I come up with that?
I have no idea.
Me either.
There's probably a couple of chipmunks and some squirrels in a cage in there in your mind.
all the rattling, yes.
Yeah. But anyway,
Quiet, I hear something.
is it cracking nuts or is it the wheel from the squirrel?
I think it's a squeaky wheel from the squirrel.
It keeps your body running. Hey, I don't question things. If technology works, use it.
I agree.
But Kim was telling me that she knew, who was it? Oh, Joey Scarberry. He was the singer of the Greatest American Hero theme. She went to high school with him. Do you remember that TV show?
Walking on air.
Yeah,
That was my nephew's favorite.
Believe it or not.
Right, believe it or not.
You're walking on air, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep, Joey Scarberry. And she said that she graduated with him. And there were several others, too, that she's mentioned over time. She's one of my coworkers. And then another of my coworkers, they're both from California, and they both went to the same high school. One was a little bit older than the other. And Alan, my friend Alan, was telling me that he lived right next door to Ted Baxter. And he said that he was friends with Ted's oldest son, and they would play basketball.
Wasn't he on the...
Mary Tyler Moore?
Mary Tyler Moore, yes.
Yeah, he was in the news department. Hi, Ted.
Right.
Hi, Lou.
Got ya. Oh, yeah, he was the boss, wasn't he?
I don't know what I forget. I was young then.
Ted Baxter?
Yeah, he was a talking head, wasn't he? Wasn't he a newscaster?
I think he was. But the gray-haired guy.
Yeah, he was almost white by the time he passed away. But he said that he would see him all the time. He'd come out and play basketball with the kids and had fun with them. He was a pretty cool guy.
I'll be darned.
Yeah, he always had time for kids. That's nice. But he has since passed away. Mm-hmm. And then
they all have.
Another friend of mine said that they knew Lurch. He lived just down the street. It might have been Kim, too, talking about Lurch. Because she lived in that area where all the...
Kim 2 or Kim 3?
Yeah,
Kim G.
Well, Kim 1. It's the only Kim that I know now. I went to school with some Kims, but this Kim I work with...
also.
Kim also, yes.
That's a weird last name.
Yeah, I know. We're trying to get it changed for her, and it just doesn't fit her. You know what I'm saying?
I can see what you're saying. Oh, dear. Okay.
But she said that Lurch, or Ted Cassidy was his name, that Ted would drive around a Volkswagen. That was his favorite little car to run around.
Popping out of the
well, he's
sunroof.
He had to be like 6'7" or something.
Exactly.
he was huge, but he wore a wig for playing Lurch. He was actually bald.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. But she said that they would see him buzzing around the neighborhood, and he'd always wave at the kids, as he passed by. But he drove his Volkswagen. Can you imagine that large man in a Volkswagen? What he did was he took the seat out, and he sat in the rear seat to drive that car.
Holy mackerel.
Is that amazing? He sat in the back seat, and he was able to reach the pedals and drive the car.
That's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, I don't know how. I mean, you have to be gargantuan for that.
Wow.
But he had a great voice. He did a lot of different voices for cartoons and whatnot. He was Injun Joe in that Hanna-Barbera remake of Huckleberry Finn.
Oh, okay.
I got really excited about that show as a kid because it was one of those weird things where a cartoon, and I'm trying to keep a straight face, he's got a Kleenex shoved up his nostril. You're such a card.
I have to do that.
Tries to make me laugh.
I do.
It was half cartoon and half real. They were real actors. They were interacting with cartoon characters. And I thought that was the coolest thing. Of course, it had been done by Disney a time or two. I mean, Dick Van Dyke. But anyway, but it was a cool show. And he was the voice of Injun Joe. And
I didn't know that.
And it was very dramatic. I liked it. Well, you know how deep his voice was for Lurch.
Uh-huh.
It's like, oh, Mr. Adams, or Mrs. Adams, or whatever he said.
He liked her.
Yeah. And Thing was his friend. And that hand.
You notice he always stood real close to the hand?
Yeah. It wasn't his hand. The outtakes from Adam's Family would have been hilarious. Okay, it's now time to talk about strange ways people die.
Word. This ought to be good.
Yeah, there used to be a show called 1,000 Ways to Die on cable, and that was interesting. It was kind of morbid, You have to be in the right mind, the right frame of mind to watch it. But these are historic things. There was an article about the dancer Isadora Duncan. She died by strangulation, apparently. She had a scarf, and she bought this brand new sports car. This is back in the 20s. And she's driving it down the road, and her sports car had spoked wheels, and the scarf was really long in the wind, and she was really enjoying herself, and the scarf was flying behind her. It apparently got caught in the wheel.
Oh, wow.
And it ripped her out of the car onto the road and killed her. Probably broke her neck like immediately.
Imagine that.
Yeah, 1927. Yikes.
It's like a giant octopus or something. You grab and you
Yeah.
take you right out of...
Well, that's a way to go quickly. There's been people that have died from drinking too much water. I don't drink enough water, but
Me either.
But if you drink too much, there's a condition called hyponatremia. Well, when you drink too much, it lowers your sodium levels, and that can actually stop your heart.
Because you pee it all out or something?
I guess so. And your levels get diluted, and then your body needs that to function.
Needs the salt.
Yeah. This woman drank 6 liters of water in 3 hours for a contest to win a Nintendo Wii, and she ended up doing it, but she threw up, and then a few hours later she died.
She croaked. Poor
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, that's sad. I heard about that when it happened.
So did I.
We talk about anthrax, how these folks have tried to weaponize mail by sending people letters with this horrible bacteria in it or whatever it is. I think it's a bacteria. And it's really hard to get rid of. And if you get it, it can kill you real quickly. Well, there was a New York congressman back in 1921 that had this happen. And you're thinking, in 1921, they probably didn't manufacture anthrax as a weapon.
Right.
But he had those shaving brushes. Remember how they used to have that shaving soap? And
Yes.
you would lather it up with the
Yes, I
brush?
do.
I used it when I was a kid.
So did I.
My dad had a shaving kit like that. And the soap smelled really good, too. I like the soap smell. But this brush is made out of some sort of hide of an animal.
Animal hair.
Hair.
Not hide.
Not hide. What am I saying?
You said
I
hide.
I knew
know.
that.
I understand. Go
Hair.
ahead. Go ahead.
Hide is without the hair.
Hair.
Kids.
Hair. Go ahead.
Yeah. So that's what happened. And it grew bacteria on the bristles. And that bacteria was anthrax. And apparently when he shaved, he got it into his
So anthrax
lungs.
is a bacteria that...
Yeah, I guess it's some
I
sort of
thought it
bacteria.
was man-made.
It can be
Anthrax.
man-made, just like any bacteria can be man-made.
Huh.
You can develop it. There's ways it grows.
There's some scientists out there going, this guy's an idiot.
Yeah, well, that's all right. We can't all be knowledgeable on everything.
I agree.
I can't rebuild a transmission, but you probably could.
I cannot.
But you're smart enough to.
I'm smart enough to, but I just don't want to.
There, you refuse to build my transmission now. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Now, don't ask me again.
Okay, I'm done.
Sorry.
There was a
Okay.
British man that was obsessed with health food, and he drank too much carrot juice, and it killed him.
Wow.
It did damage to his liver. Now, you think vegetables are good for you.
But could he see really good before
He could see in the dark. but he died, alas, and his liver kicked out on him.
I'll be darned. So I'll remember not to drink a whole lot of carrot juice.
Yeah. How about
My eyes are going bad. I'm going to have to get glasses or
what?
something. Not my ears.
Oh.
My eyes.
I see. Jennifer, can you hand me that cup of tea over there, please? With your other hand. That's got the weapon.
That
on it.
was not long enough.
Yes.
There it is.
Thank you very
Perfect.
much. So, Tennessee Williams,
Tennessee Ernie
the
Ford?
playwright, not Tennessee, he's a singer.
Oh.
Tennessee Williams, the playwright.
Who's Tennessee Tuxedo?
Tennessee Tuxedo, that's Don Adams' cartoon.
Yeah, he was a penguin.
Yeah, Don Adams. Right, Chief. He was on Got Smart,
Right.
the voice of Tennessee Tuxedo.
Was Don Adams.
See,
Okay, go ahead.
Tennessee Williams died. Do you know how he died? I always thought it was suicide. I never knew how he died.
His wife killed him.
No, it was a plastic bottle off of a sniffing medicine, like you would put into your nose to clear your sinuses.
Right.
Well, apparently he was using the cap to pour other medicine in and throw down his throat. He threw it down his throat and it got stuck, and he couldn't breathe.
Wow.
So that's how he died.
Bet he won't do that again.
You know, one of my favorite cartoons is Daffy Duck. And Daffy was in this competition with Bugs Bunny in one cartoon where he's going to drink gasoline and light it. So he drinks the gasoline and he lights it, of course explodes, and then he floats up into the air as a little angel with wings on because he's dead.
Daffy is?
Yeah. And Bugs goes, I'll bet you're not going to do that again or something like that. And he goes, nope, you can only do that trick once.
I agree.
In 1919, there was a giant tank that burst. It was full of molasses.
Glasses.
Yes. And it killed 21 people in Boston. You believe that? 2.3 million gallons flooded the streets of Boston, splashing up to 15-foot high waves of this syrup. It drowned horses and even ruined a train platform.
Oh, that's a shame, ruining the train platform.
You're horrible. And you know, in Thailand, it is not allowed to touch the queen. You're not allowed to touch her under penalty of death.
I didn't even know they had a queen.
They do. And in 1880, that cost the queen her life because she was pregnant and out in the water. I guess she was waving to people and whatnot, and she fell out of the boat and she started to drown. So people just stood by and watched her because
they couldn't touch her.
They weren't allowed to touch her at penalty of death.
I don't blame those people.
It sucks to be queen sometimes.
I guess it does.
There you go. You can't make this up either. There was a guy in Brazil just a few years ago, back in 2013. You'll never guess how he died and what fell through his roof. Take a guess.
A Brazil nut.
No.
Oh.
A cow.
Oh, they have a tornado or something? No.
Well, they think the cow got away from a farm and then climbed up onto the man's roof and fell because the roof couldn't support the weight.
How in the hell did he get up on the roof?
He didn't die immediately, though, but he died of internal bleeding.
Not unless...
Sometimes people build houses into hillsides and whatnot.
Yeah, I got you.
But yeah, the cow just walked right up on the roof and poof. So the good news is the family has milk for the rest of their cow lives.
They had, and they also had probably about 500
pounds of beef.
Pounds of beef, yeah.
That's a lot of good hamburger. I don't care what you say.
Hamburger.
All right. So the owner of the Segway company dies just shortly after purchasing it. He's from England. He's in 2010 is when this happened. He was driving around a cliff, and he decided to get a little too close and fell more than 30 feet into a river and died.
So he's driving his Segway and went off a cliff. But he's probably, oh, watch me, pip, pip, tally ho, pip, pip, wah, wah, no.
Pip, pip, goodbye.
Yeah, no kidding.
Wow.
Pip, pip, tally ho.
I wonder if he had the all-terrain tires. Maybe that was the cause.
Yeah.
He had the slicks on there.
If he had the slicks on there, if he had the all-terrain, he'd be able to stop.
You'd think so anyway, but who knows? Ah, poor guy. That's horrible.
That is.
But, you know, if you've ever seen those, they take some doing to learn how to ride them.
I bet.
You have to get used to the balance and all that, and the sensor can only do so much. But I would never ride one of those. It's like, that's why they don't have them in the Grand Canyon.
That would be a perfect place for him.
And perfect place not to be. I'm going to drive off the cliff.
Hey, did you know?
Oh, no.
15% of the air you breathe in a metro station is human skin.
Ooh. Remind me not
that-
to go to the metro station.
That's gross.
That's a lot. Well, I mean, they say your bed absorbs a lot of your skin, and then the mites that are living on it.
And what is it, like 40% of the dust in your house is
Skin flakes,
and yes,
and mites. You're actually breathing mites.
mite poop.
Yikes.
I might be breathing poop.
No. Oh, why does the subject of poo always come up?
Because it's a crappy situation.
And it's funny. I don't care who you are.
I don't care who you are either.
You have to have a sense of humor in this life.
I agree. Yeah, just like my mom said, honey, if you can't have fun, there's something wrong with you.
That is correct. If they only knew what just happened.
Oh, dear.
I hit the wrong button and it turned everything off.
Yeah.
Anyway, that music means, of course, we're at the end of the show.
Yes, we are.
I want to thank you for your
Undivided
attention. I have none left myself. You have days like that where you just can't focus. This is one of them.
Yeah, Mama told me.
Yeah, well, there you go. So thanks for listening. We want to welcome you back to the next show. We'll try to keep you entertained and do more fun stuff.
Yeah, we'll try to keep you entertained.
Maybe we'll visit with Smitty or somebody, see what's going on here. Or Red, the next door neighbor.
Ooh, Red.
Yeah, and Red's a character. Well, anyway, you all have a good one, and we'll talk to you next time, next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. I think I can say that without being sued.
Probably. Not.
Yeah, I'm just quoting, that's all. So it's okay.
Quote this.
But thank you for listening. Put that down.
Oh.
It's time for some burgers. I'm ready to eat something, man. I'm ready to eat some
I'm kind
good
of hungry,
food.
too. I'm going to have salmon.
Salmon? Salmon Dave?
Salmon.
Salmon? Anyway, that wraps it up. Have a good one now. I am Chris.
I'm Garth.
And we are the
Bunker Boys.